welcome back to the road to 100% completion of World of Warcraft. The impossible challenge that I set for myself to get all of the things. Now, we're using the add-on called All the Things to track our completion in account mode. And we even went ahead and we started from 0% by making a fresh account for this series. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn and enjoy the recap. So, let us get started from where we left off. We're hopping on to day number 13. And the last recap we just hit level 80 with our Dwarven Hunter. And this recap will cover some side questing throughout midnight. And a bit grinding and collecting some stuff. Now, to start off, we went ahead and we purchased a 180 item level armor piece from each renowned merchant in midnight, which is pretty handy, giving us a nice boost while questing. Now, since we already completed the campaign on Moon Bandit, our Night Elf Druid, we'll skip the part where I just rush through it so I don't have to think about it. And yeah, just start off with the side questing, really. And there's a lot of them. There's 17 different quest lines, which is a lot more than the usual 4 or 5 chapters in like classic zones. And honestly, due to the magnitude of them, some of them are pretty forgettable. But I will also say that their function seems to be to just add a bit to the environment, like just add a bit of immersion almost. So overall, I like the quests, but I wouldn't say that you're missing out on too much of importance if you're not going to complete them, honestly. Now, that being said, on day 13 we didn't complete that many, but there was a cool blood elf called Lysara Darkmourn, which had us uncover like this small smuggling operation where they were supplying Naga with some magical artifacts. So we went ahead and we put a stop to all of that. So again, yeah, it adds a bit of immersion in the sense that things are happening in Eversong basically. Now, there's also some more unserious quests. Like, we were chasing down a dog that apparently is a kleptomaniac dog. Ends with us at least learning him as a pet, which is nice. There was also a quest following Arcanist Taimin and his journey to prove his worth for the Fast Riders, which leads us to the old Fast Rider spot that if you played the Burning Crusade, or just leveled a Blood Elf before midnight, it's kind of a fun nostalgic moment to like see a place you remember in the back of your mind, but it's slightly different. And yeah, it was a fine side quest as well. Then, as this was our first day, and we did rush through the campaign just to get a couple of levels so we could use the renowned armor set, because you need to be level 81 for that. We went ahead and we hopped on over to Moon Bandit, the Night Elf Druid, and we tried to get the Death Charge's range from Statholm, but spoiler alert, we did not. Although we did pick up a bunch of transmogs, of course, so that's always nice. Then, to keep up with the routine, we head on back to our home, rearrange some stuff a bit before sitting back down to head off for the day. And we ended with a 3.75 from our original 3.62%. And day 14 comes around, and we started out by helping this Van Helsing looking elf, which suddenly gives us some hints that she's up to something a bit sinister. And even though we also get told by some other NPCs that she's a bit suspicious, we end up finding out that all she was trying to do was materialize a friend that used to be a Fast Rider hero, so she could feel the breeze for a bit. Now, an oddly sentimental little quest that actually brought a bit of mystery as you play through it, but it was a very short one. But still, I enjoy that one. Now, with that out of the way, we went ahead and we fished up some fish for a very eloquent, high, sophisticated elf. And then we continue up onto another Fast Rider location, where we investigate the area as the Magister and all his students have gone missing. And it turns out the Magister has created this little Last of Us situation, where he's been merging human bodies with the light bloom, kind of like infusing it, which in turn make some sort of plant-like zombies. Well, not even zombies, most of the students are just dead. But yeah, it happens. Now, we end up just killing the Magister, and that's the end of it. Like, we clean up the spot, and we're good to move forward. So we head on up to the Blood Elves' actual starting zone. And to my delight, we get some quests here as well, which I found pretty cool, as I'm very familiar with this little area. Also, fun fact, one of the most popular races in WoW is the Blood Elves. So perhaps Blizzard were a bit strategic with the placement of the newest expansion, as to deliver a little nostalgic blast to the most amount of players at once. Now, anywho, we help out a Blood Elf that's struggling with his career path, as he needs to choose between becoming a fast rider, a blood knight, or a trainee of the Magisters. And I appreciate this quest a lot, as it very clearly states sort of the 3 main branches of Blood Elves. So a nice little way for a quest to have a bit of a lore-wise purpose, of just reminding the player what the Blood Elves are up to. Also, just quick recap if you don't know the factions. The fast riders, they're sort of tending to the woods. They're kind of like park rangers in a sense, kind of following the hunter archetype. The blood knights, they follow Lady Liadrin. The paladins, wielding the light, and then the magisters, they are studying magic. Now, it's a bit iffy on what kind of magic they're supposed to study right now, as they are no longer supposed to use fel, or some higher regard magisters are allowed to use fel, but in controlled manners. So I'm guessing it's mostly arcane these days. Although we, as I said, we are going to deal with a bit of fel later on as well. But yeah, but that was pretty much all the side quests, like, outside of Silvermoon. So we carry on into Silvermoon, starting off by listening to the Regent's request, as Lothamar is requested to talk to us and Valera at the bay, and it turns out there's some Twilight Blade back out in Eversong again that are gathering intelligence, and we're tasked with sort of breaking some of these orbs they're using for communications. And we also grab a document, and it's kind of like implicit that there's some insider information going on and yada yada, but we're not allowed to read it like back in the old days, which is a thing that I've been noticing with newer WoW quests versus the old ones, is that a lot of items aren't going into your bags anymore. It's simply tracked outside, like directly against the quest, probably to stop players from, I don't know, hurting themselves by you know, deleting stuff, putting it in your bank, or just having quest items that you're never going to turn in. So yeah, I guess it's a quality of life thing, which is nice, I guess, but I still kind of miss getting the letters, books, documents, whatever, just in your bags and having the option to, like, read them, even though maybe your character wasn't supposed to know that information. Like, it creates a bit of like interactivity that I really liked. So kind of sad to see that being not removed entirely from the game, but like not a part of new quests. But yeah, we finish up there and we then run around Silvermoon looking for the last quests. So first we find Solvin Brightstitch, who needs an assistant to tell his customers off. But then a Draenei shows up with a special cloak, and he agrees to repair it on the basis that the cloak material is so special. Which then, it's like, it's a bit of prejudice from the Blood Elf against Draenei and yada yada, that whole shenanigan. But then they fix the cloak, and suddenly they sit by a campfire and shoot the shit. So it was a bit abrupt. It almost felt like I missed a dialogue exchange or something. It was a bit of an odd quest for me. But either way, we carry on, and our next stop is out in a little park area where Ranger Talon is. He's cleaning up some mess on the ground. Now, he rented a dog for the day, but the dog is kind of ruthless, and he asks us to find the creature. So yeah, it's been running rampant through the entire city, and we're just going from NPC to NPC, like sort of cleaning up the mess after him. Managed to find him, and then we return him back to Talonus. And in that says a little cute toy of Little Scoot, as the little dog is called. So yeah, worth it, I suppose. We then travel up outside of a bar, and we meet up with none other than Taranar Sunstrike, which, if you don't remember, it's the Blood Elf that we met during the last recap, when we were questing through the Eastern Plaguelands. He and his buddy Gidwin, he sought out to join the Argent Dawn, and now they're here on some sort of hangover adjacent style side quest. So our first task is finding Gidwin, the little dwarf, and lo and behold, history does repeat itself. He is webbed up yet again. So we do as we did last time, we break him out and we kill a spider for him, and then we also pay off the debt from the bar with some artifact that they had laying around, and then they just wander off. So I gotta say that this small sort of silly quest, it was one of the high points for me personally, as I like the characters. I also like whenever they bring back side characters from other zones, or kind of like reference or build on previous events. So here it did kind of feel like it could have done a better job at building the characters instead of using them as almost like a gag or a joke in a sense, but I still appreciate seeing them again. With that done, we start on to something a bit more serious in a sense, and that is to uncover a fell smuggling operation, as we're tasked to do by a demon hunter, and it kind of felt like a drugs are bad type of quest, but I also kind of like the backdrop of it. Like, it's cool to see that Silverman has like this darker side, although I did have one issue, being that it felt like you got the central part of Silvermoon and then you just go down one set of stairs and boom, criminal underworld. But I didn't get the feeling of it. It all kind of just looked the same. And one good example of sort of switching the layouts or having it would work better would be Dalaran. Because I don't think this is an issue of scale, of things being right next to each other. Because Dalaran had a topside and a suicide, which effectively captured that like contrast between those living on the top side and those living below, whereas I don't get the same feeling in Silvermoon. But either way, we move on to help out a Magister Aridis, and he's telling us that some lady is falsely blackmailing him, and that he needs us to break some warded conduits to go and find the documents and then bring it back to him. And it all just like begs the question of like, am I the bad guy? And yeah, we pretty much were about to be very bad guys until the said lady, Magister Dawnblaze, lets us in on some intel, and it leads us to basically figure out that the other Magister has been kidnapping poor people and running fell experiments on them. Now, we also get help from this morally grey character, Jaith, who is kind of like a underground rogue type figure in Silvermoon. And he does help us kill the Magister as well, and one of his friends are found in the basement of this Magister, so a bit dramatic there. And it kind of ends off with a bit of heavy tension between Jaith and Dawnblaze, as Dawnblaze was just paying Jaith to kill the other Magister. He didn't do so because he was a hero like us, of course. I guess we also got paid, so I guess we're both equally bad. But yeah, the whole idea here is that it's suggesting that Silvermoon is being ran on blackmail, motive for hire, corruption, and like just bad stuff in general. Which does check out, as the Blood Elves are, at least from my perspective, supposed to be kind of bad guys at the end of the day. So it actually did set the sort of mood and added a bit of immersion as to what Silvermoon really is. But that was pretty much 99% of the side quests. The last one, we have to hop on over to Moon Bandit, as it requires us to be level 90. And for the sake of linear progression, I opted to just do it on Moon Bandit now instead of circling back. Now, the quest is called Missing Paladins, and it has us return to the ruins of Deathholm, which we briefly visited during the campaign. It's like down in the middle in Eversong Woods. And we're accompanied by two paladins, Salandria and Talia Fordragon, and yeah, as the quest name suggests, we try to find and break free all the missing paladins, rescuing them from the Twilight Blade. Now, we get most of them out, and some of them were found dead, so rest in peace. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm kind of glossing over some details, but anyways, the reason why this was a level 90 quest was that the mobs in the areas, they were elites, so checks out. But overall, it was just a fun little rescue mission. And that marked all of the side quests of Eversong Woods done. Before I call it a day though, we went ahead and we travelled all the way to Old Dalaran in Northrend to get ourselves a very important mount, now that we've actually saved up a bit of gold. And we purchased ourselves the reins of the Traveller's Tundra Mammoth, which is extremely nice to have, as it gives you 2 vendors, so you can sell your junk when running dungeons or raids, without having to fly to a nearby merchant. Now, with the mount bought, we of course need to use it a bit, so we travel to the Burning Steppes and we head into Blackwing Lair to run it for the first time. We did end up getting somewhat of a rare drop. I'll check it in the post to see the percentage, but we got the Death Talon Whelp Guard pet. But other than that, the biggest grind in these raids are probably going to be the zone drops at the end of the day. So for right now, we're just happy to run through and just pick up anything, as anything we pick up is new. So I'll save that for as long as it lasts. And also, we still have got some more time left, so we ran Stratholm a couple of times, trying for the Death Charger's reins, but still we got no luck on that. So we went ahead and we just ran Alderman once to just slowly progress towards the classic Dungeon Master achievement. And then we're about ready to call it a day. We head on back home. We sit our butts down and we end the day at 3.89% from the previous 3.72. On to day 15, and as you can see, I added the chat onto screen. On that note, I did just find out that I apparently can toggle what gets saved in the recording and what gets shown on stream. So I'll be trying to fix that, so I can remove my avatar and the chat from future recap episodes. But I am currently already on day 24, so yeah, gonna be stuck with this setup for a little while longer. Hopefully it's not too annoying. But yeah, speaking of being like a beginner at this whole editing and streaming thing, just FYI, I am streaming the entire process of this journey, both on YouTube and on Twitch. So if you would like to hop in and just say hi or just check on the progress, drop a subscribe or a follow, and I'll see you around. Anywho, back to day 15. So, the day was a bit more messy, as we already done half of the troll quests while leveling Moon Bandit, and at that time I wasn't too concerned with focusing on the quests themselves. I was just longing for hitting level 90. So here I'll just be going over what we did on Peltis. So starting off, we got a little Blood Elf Strawman to show that not all trolls are bad, and the Twilight Blight are disguising themselves as trolls to drive a wedge between the elves and the trolls. So they got history and all that, so yeah, makes sense. Then we help another troll to cheat on his exam by doing the hunting challenge for him, but cheating never pays off, and his chieftain finds him and scolds him. The Tolans are also back, and they got a permit to stay on the land. Now, we help them out and they get settled along the coast. They bond with the trolls over their shared love for spicy food. Now, the Tolans obviously much lower tempo and stakes in their quests, but honestly, I'm a bit partial to them. Like, they're into archaeology and all stuff and taking it chill, so they're all fun. And then we do a bit of a side quest of finding Kansa, a little troll, and she's seeking out the child lower, Philo, as the lower is said to keep dead kids company till their parents or someone else comes and gets them in the afterlife. And her sister's dead, so we're basically helping her set up a final goodbye. because she misses her sister, which, fair enough. We then get the continuation of the happenings in the hinterlands, where you have the Witherbark and Raventusk trolls trying to summon the Spider-Lower Shardra to do bad shit, but we stop them from doing that. This time around though, the Spider-Lower apparently isn't all that bad, and we actually end up summoning her yet again as an ally. Now this time in a reborn form, since she was kinda dead, I think. Not sure how lower life actually works in that regard, but anywho, it's cool to see her back. I also like the dynamic between the Shardra, the Spider-Lower, and Halasi, the Kitten-Lower, as it kind of creates a dynamic relation between the lowers, right? And we then need to be level 90 again to complete the last quest. So we do hop onto Moon Bandit, we clear out another area with a bunch of elites. This time it's a bunch of trolls that's been capturing the Witherbarks to do necromancy. So yeah, we put a stop to that and call it a day. And as we turn in that quest, we get the Sojourner of Sul Aman. And yeah, of course, before we log off, we head on back home. And we end the day at 3.95% from the previous 3.72%. And day 16. With Eversong, Woods and Sulamani completed, we set our sights on Harendar. Taking a journey into the earth. Now, we start off helping out a child by collecting some feathers that we're going to use for brushes. And we're also trying to figure out what happened to her teacher, Jakul. And spoiler alert, he was killed. We guard her as she vision walks, and this is now the second quest in Midnight, where we orchestrate a final goodbye to a dead person. Why not, I suppose? Then we move on to play a game of hide and seek. We also collect some sky shards to summon a legendary Pokemon, but it doesn't happen. We just end up making a child not do their chores. But in truthfulness, it actually seems to be kind of a cool secret here, where you need to keep grinding a world drop that seems to drop from all the mobs in Harendar. Then you're probably going to use this currency somewhere to summon this old legendary bird that's mentioned in the quest that little kid is trying to find. So kind of neat, but way too grindy to be our focus right now. More than that, we get a little introduction to the Haranir by proxy of a little goblin guy. And we even get to leave our mark by smacking a wall with paint. Nice. Oh, yeah, the Haranir, apparently they love painting, but it's kind of a magical type painting, I think. Next, we go on the hunt. We apparently need to be worthy ourselves to help out a random Haranir to pass his hunter's exam. So if I'm reading this correctly, he basically tells us that, hey, I need my driver's license. Could you maybe take the instructor's course so that I could do my test with you? Which, I mean, fair enough. I am a legendary dwarven hunter after all. So we go ahead and we do that. We even kill a big beast, and yeah, nice, he's a hunter now, and so am I, apparently. Now, we then travel into a vision stone, where a Haranir is a bit insecure about his painting. Now, apparently you can walk into vision stones, and the vision stones are sort of paintings that they lay it on top of the real world, or a parallel dimension or something. It's a tad bit confusing, but sure, we'll go with it. Then onto my favorite quest in Harendar. No painting involved in this one, and also the most minion coded quest by far. Don't know what that says about me, but it's the Grudge Pit. Now it's basically it's a gladiator pit with fungi people, and they all fight to the death. Now they don't view death as humans do, because they're mushrooms or fungi, as they kind of, if they die, they just get absorbed into the soil and they become nutrients, right? Which is good for everyone. So it's kind of this odd underlying reincarnation idea, mixed with a bunch of like really menacing aggro shroomies, and yeah, I'm there for it, honestly. So you form a little team with Cine, Tuk Tuk and Braco, and you do a bit of questing, back and forth, prepping, like getting the spirits up and whatnot. And then the goal is to become champion of the arena, which we eventually do become. And then we get our second title. I thought it was the first one, but we apparently got an R title from doing the Night Elf Heritage quest, like way earlier. I just didn't notice it, because you can only see it on Night Elves. So, either way, it was a fun quest, and we got a cool title. We then find a village of some more fungi, but these fungi are no fun. We got another Last of Us situation on our hands, and yeah, they got mushrooms zombified due to the light bloom, I think. Now, after killing a bunch of zombie shroomies, we get a pretty standard population control of the wildlife quest, and then we're pretty much done with all we can do in Harandar for now. The two remaining quest lines were either locked for level 90, or you need to have completed parts of the campaign, which we hadn't on Peltis. Now, there is an NPC called Sorindormi in Silvermoon. She lets you skip the campaign if you're level 90, so the plan was to just grind up Peltis to level 90, and then skip the campaign and do the remaining quests. Now, since we were level 88, I thought it'd be quick, but honestly, it took about 3 hours, and I kind of forgot the whole plan after that. But yeah, we grinded away, we did some dungeons, some questing, and we ended up hitting level 90 from a Suleimani quest that we already done on Moon Bandit, and as I said, I forgot the previous plan, so I just went and I ran Strathold before calling it a day. Again, it was so late into stream that I was kind of like over it and didn't have the energy to like sit there and read quests. So yeah, we ran Strathold, no mount, so we head on back home, and after a long journey we called it a day once again, and we left off at 405% on day 16. The journey of Peltis, the Dwarven Hunter, and his journey from level 80 to 90 started at day 13 with 3.62%. So we are slowly progressing. Now, in all honesty here, it would have made sense for me to just complete the Harandar stuff, but I was low-key just feeling doing something else, and I haven't like really felt the vibes to like go back into Harandar. It sounded more interesting to start up a new character again. Because I mean, it's more chill vibes, just questing through Eastern Kingdoms, like seeing old zones that I like. And again, my main plan was always to just grind through classic content, mainly like going Eastern Kingdoms, then Kalimdor, then going to Outland, then Northrend, and yeah, you get the idea. And Midnight kind of just got thrown in there as it kind of felt natural to grind up to level 90, which you can only sort of do in Midnight, excluding, I guess you could do with battle pets, I think, but that's an odd way to do it. But yeah, I also been thinking that I don't think we necessarily are going to do much more Midnight stuff in the near future. Maybe we'll like have a special session here and there where we grind through if we feel like it. But I think that I'm going to start placing my characters at level 80 for now, and focus on getting all the quests done expansion wise, as it just feels better to do it like in a linear progression. But again, it's not a hard rule, a soft rule at best. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So Peltis is now 90, and stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be, as I said, a new character, and hell, maybe even a new faction. And also, remember to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace out.